All right, so we are recording. Good morning, everyone. Thank you
Good
for
morning.
joining us. Thank you, Michael Jasilowicz. So I am so excited to have you here with me today to have this conversation with you. I want to introduce all of you to one of my favorite people in the world. He's become a wonderful mentor, friend, accountability partner for me. We have great brainstorms together every week and a really wonderful support. So this is Michael Jaselowicz Jr., otherwise known as MJ, and he is a success coach. I love this term. He is a dealer of hope. He is a hope dealer, HOPE. And so, when you're facing challenges in life, right, we need someone to have our back and say, hey, there is a way to get through this. So I always associate him with the character in Pulp Fiction, the wolf who is the cleaner. So if you're a little bit lost, right, you're having a hard moment here, he's the fixer. He's the guy that you call and to get another perspective on how to see what you're dealing with and how to see your strengths too and help you remember who you are and your strengths and how you can navigate through it. So he has a lot of wonderful experience of growing up in lower middle class, 20 miles north of Boston, and he has been a serial entrepreneur since childhood. He would buy two hot balls for a nickel and sell them each for a nickel in school. So he started his business with candy. I love it. So again,
Yes.
we're going to talk today with him about who we are, what is our nature. It really does show up early on in life, and we will be seeing it in many forms. So he finished at the top of his class. He's also very adept in his mind prowess here. He gave up his scholarship, though, and actually enlisted into the Air Force, where he eventually earned Airman of the Year. So wherever he lands, he really puts himself into it 1,000% and really defines what he's capable of and benefits society. So I love this too. He began as a dishwasher at 12 years old, and he fell in love with the restaurant business from there. And so he jumped both feet into learning everything that the corporate world had to teach him while he was in the Air Force about running successful businesses and successful multi locations of businesses, which is what he did in the restaurant industry. He helped to build, still existing today, a number of successful restaurants in Las Vegas and even won Restaurateur of the Year. So, yeah, when you do something, you go all in and you go all out in it and you really put your heart and soul into it, and some really magical things happen. And so,
Mhm.
he's a
Mhm.
wonderful, wonderful resource for all of us to gain some insight and wisdom from today. And so there's this wonderful process that he has as far as in traditional Chinese medicine, 5 element theory, going back into the theory of the I Ching. That was translated and adopted by Carl Jung, and then now it's utilized in this Roger James Hamilton wealth dynamics paradigm. And so this is an incredible opportunity to really know thyself, which is our greatest asset, right? The truth about ourselves is what sets us free here. And so we can know what our strengths are. I love this quote from that system that he's going to teach us about here today. And also on Sunday, April 5th, when we work together again for all of you to experience this in a deeper way than what we can cover today in the time that we have for this talk. But one of the quotes from Roger Hamilton is, everyone is born a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. So it's a 15-minute online test, but it can show you so much about your own nature, so we can stop judging ourselves, expecting ourselves to be something we're not, right? And we
Right.
can also really tap into, okay, what is my nature, my natural abilities, my skills, my path of least resistance? Where am I strongest? How can I harness that, make the most of it? Stop trying to push myself into being somebody else. And then how can I choose a team, right, to support me with the gaps that I have? When we get into, I'm going to share details about my profile, and we're going to share some details about Michael's profile too, because one of the ones one of the aspects in the profile, I have a zero. I have zero of that. So it explains how things can make me feel drained when I'm doing one of the tasks that fit into the zero bank. And also a good place for me to think about when I build a team, who can I delegate to? And then two, to knowing someone like Michael with his profile, who he is, his nature is such a great compliment to me, because he really fills in some of my zero gaps to give me a very insightful perspective on some other aspects that I might not naturally come up with myself. So good morning, Michael. Thank you for being here with me to have this great talk
Good
about the
morning,
truth of ourselves.
and thank you for the introduction. The one thing I didn't put in there is what we talk a lot about is spirit. So, that it's a big part of my life too. It's whenever doing the IOs, right? We're always talking, okay, what do we do in the past? How do you realize what we're talking about? So that's a little bit of what you shared. Appreciate that. That was very well done. So you want to jump right into the wealth tax part, or?
Well, you know what? I'll take that little carrot you threw out here too, because that's one of the things that I really appreciate and admire about you too. You're all heart, and what you want is to put
Oh,
your
thank you.
heart in your business and really have us be connected, not only in our work and relationships, right, but also with ourselves, right? What's driving us? Because we can't show up every day with the fight, with the energy, right? If we don't really know the meaning behind it, and it isn't really meaningful for us. And that's one of the great insights and perspective that you definitely share and you embody. It's not enough to know what you're doing or even be good at what you're doing, right? If our heart
Mhm.
isn't in it, if our
So
spirit isn't in it, if it's not fulfilling, we're not going to be able to keep showing up to it. We'll get bored.
no, and in with relationship in the past, getting these, I would even after having some great success in my career, had some big speed bumps too. And as we mentioned, I lost $1 million I didn't have. Uh, I told you the story. 38 hours in the Kansas City jail. So, right, there's things that happened in my life. It wasn't always perfect, but it the thing that always came out was I couldn't keep doing something unless there was something bigger attached to it, right? So to your point, where unless I could put my heart into it, it was going to be short lived. Or what we're going to talk about here is a little bit about flow and how we get into that flow, and it would take me out of it. And when you're not in flow, it takes in a massive amount of energy to be able to take care of whatever task that you're taking care of, whether that's doing some work, whether it's sales, whether that's doing paperwork, whether it's doing filing, or it's in a creative process. We'll have different ways into our flow. And for me, I really, we'll get into it. We're both on the creative side of things. And if there's not a person associated with what we're doing, it would be short lived. It's, if you get it, I've been involved in companies in the past. Even though I've been a long time entrepreneur, I also worked for companies. And I worked for companies in the past. And what's happened is, for me, I believe in respecting people, giving people opportunity, giving them second chances because they've been given to me, and maybe even more. I believe in giving them support that they need, and have an empathy for where people are at. Not that they have it, but they just have some empathy, and then give them the support. And I've worked for companies who say, yeah, our people are the number one thing. And then once it comes time to, there's all of a sudden, like we're having now, there's a little bit going on. Say first thing to go is the people. Now this is different here, right? Things are just being shut down. In the past, would say first thing to go are the people. It's like, but you said that the people were the most important thing. Yeah, well, my profit's more important. When there was other ways to keep that profit. I'm not saying that I'm saying they had options and they exercised not to use those options, and they went against what they were saying. And me, those people are important. Yeah, you have to be attached to something with a bigger purpose and a bigger goal. Use your why. Simon Sinek says it, right? We all say it. We'll talk a little bit about it here. But if you don't have that for yourself, you're not going to be able to sustain the amount of energy that you need to keep you going towards the goals that you want to achieve. that all connects with flow, which we're into, because that's really what this is about.
Yeah, and I want to touch on what you said too, because what I think is another aspect, as far as the whole theme of this event on Sunday, and the
Mhm.
whole motivation for me to do this faith group, Facebook group, and also for me to be in an accountability group with you, right? We need community.
Yes, we
Like
do.
you just described support very specifically, because we can't survive here alone in this
No, and
world.
there's more than
It's
just you
not
and I.
possible.
Right? Our accountability group is a number of people. We have 5 people. There's
Yeah.
started with 3 of us, and then we've found a few more souls. So we're introduced a few more souls that we're all aligned with, which is really cool. But yes, you need community, and so using it's interesting because although I was a business owner for so long, I'm still a business owner. My goals keep shifting, right? I've had to learn for myself on how to listen to my intuition a little bit more and be a little bit more aware of what it's telling me. And it's not because I don't believe in quitting. I think you should finish everything you start. But there are certain things when you're like, what am I doing? Why do I continue to do this? Is it because what everybody else is thinking? Is it because I've been programmed? What is it? And so you got to listen to your intuition. So I've done that a little bit more. And in the last few years, I've, as much enjoy I do, it keeps morphing, right? And I keep adding things to it because other things I'm introduced to other aspects that bring light to me and bring value to me. And I love to share that with people. That's one of my things that, like, when I find something and it will set off a light bulb, I wanted to share that because it's like, look, this had such an impact on me. If it's going to have an impact on me like this, how is it going to have an impact on you? I want to share that. It's like when people go to personal development courses. Some people will say, you know what, everyone go out afterwards and try to enroll. It's like, no, you're so excited about all the impact that came into your life. You want other people to experience the same thing. So that's what happened. This is another aspect of what I do when I'm working people's success, personally or professionally, right? How do those go together? Because they're always connected. Where do we start? That's always the question. And for me, when it's business, I have a necessity to do with the business. We get to really dive deep into the business. We can look at numbers and systems and processes, and people. But the other thing that was missing was starting with you, right? Starting with you, me, the person that my client that I'm dealing with is who are you? What are you good at? And how does that apply to your life and to your work? How does understanding that make your job more enjoyable? Understand how you to make better teams because this was the little piece I was missing. So when I was introduced to this, it's been I took the test and I once again completely revamped everything I was doing. I actually took time off and said I got to stop what I'm doing because something's not right. Not
Which
only am
is
I not
what's
working out
so
the flow,
appropriate right now with this shutdown. Many of us
completely
have this wonderful opportunity where we are
opportunity.
forced stopped. So we
Yeah,
can embrace it as an opportunity to utilize this time to get
yeah.
clear, right?
It,
And really objectively look at, well, who are we and how are we spending our time? And once we know our nature, are we really in flow with ourselves, our own relationship with ourselves, our relationships with our friends and family, with our
yeah.
coworkers, with our
Are
work,
we?
our business? We can,
Mm,
right, really take an evaluation here, right? And this is a wonderful test to do that. So this is such a great, again, asset and tool and opportunity for us to get clear and then make really conscious choices from
it
this
is.
awakened state, and
Yeah. So
stop
from
having unrealistic expectations.
yeah,
Maybe.
and we'll I spent a little bit of time. I don't want to lose people on this, so I want to. If I do you mind if I share
Yeah,
this
let's
real quick?
go. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's all
The
dive in, everybody. Check this out.
so one of the things I want to go off of what you just said, Andrea, is what happens is we try to do things. What we're always told is you have to get better at the things you're not good at. Right? Every year, if you work for a corporation of some sort or some type of company that does your evaluations, every year you get a list of things that you're good at and the things that you're not good at. And you sit down, you talk with your supervisor, and maybe on a scale of 1 to 5, 3 being average, 5 being above average, and 0 being below. they say, look, here are the areas that you could do better. You could do better at customer service. You could be better at doing teamwork. You could be, if you're a manager, you could be better at coming in and, whether it's knowing your numbers or leadership, or there's all these different metrics that we can look at. And, and they say, this is where you're lacking and this is where you can improve. It's backwards. And a lot of times, when you have all these different tests out there, assessments, personality tests, you said earlier, Jung, he took what the I Ching, which was interpreted by one of his friends, he took it and it inspired him to write all of his books that those end up becoming the basis of everything that we use today, whether that's Myers-Briggs, DISC, color, whatever, and even wall dynamics. But the difference is all those that I ever took just told me who I was. It didn't give me any practical steps of how I could move forward. So the same goes for that. So when you take those two together, it's like, this is, now we're looking at it from wealth dynamics. It's like, this is who you are, this is what you're naturally good at, right? And then your yearly assessment that you get in work, and they say, this is where you need to improve. And why I say that's backwards is because you need to start looking at hiring for what people are good at and less about what the position needs. And so the positions need to have their responsibilities around. If you have a team of people, and everyone that I've ever seen do this, colleagues I talk to, clients I've worked with, when wealth dynamics is individual, talent dynamics is team. When they do it as a team, and they start with themselves and do it as a team, I around some responsibilities. And short period of time, weeks, if it's a few, they'll have increases in effectiveness, revenue, profit, right? 10, 30, 40, 50%. And this happens because people are doing not only what they're actually good at, but what they enjoy and what puts them in flow. And that is about, if you look at the top, it says the system for entrepreneurs to their flow. When you're in your flow, it's effortless, it's fun, it's engaging, it's exciting. Time stands still, right? It's effortless. So so that's the whole goal. How do you get to those places? And this is the tool to allow us to do that. So in your case, you're a creator. So where it's down bottom here
Yeah,
is
this is my profile,
yes,
everybody,
it is. Yeah,
from
your
me
name's
taking the
on somewhere.
test. And so this is where I land, and it also it explained to me why certain tasks where I am not represented. So if I'm a creator in this top area, then it's kind of the opposite of the bottom, right?
Right.
And
Yeah, the
so
trader.
there are gaps here where I have very low numbers, even 0% at this left side here. And so when
I'm going
I
to show you that.
do, because I do tasks that are not in my natural gift, I find them very draining.
Yeah.
And so I have to limit my amount of time and engagement and when I do those things, because they'll tap me out. Whereas when I'm in my sweet spot, that magical place he just described so well, it's effortless, it's easy, it's invigorating,
Yeah.
and
And
I don't
it's
feel
exhausting.
drained.
Yeah, it's exhausting because we're not in our flow. It doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means it takes more energy. So, and is up here as a creator. So I'm going to the outside real quick just to give you a real basic understanding. We don't have enough time to do a deep dive on this. These on the outside, dynamo, phase, steel, these are the frequencies that we're at. Right underneath them, right, would be wood, spring. Think of this as time of years. These are the different elements, but it's all the time of year. So spring is at the beginning of a season, right? It's where we are right now. The leaves are starting to bloom. The flowers are starting to bloom. It's the beginning. So people up in this dynamo side and this frequency with this type of elements and thinking of spring, they get stuff going really well. Might not be great at all finishing it, but they get it going really well and they get started. And a blaze is somebody who's seeing it starting to, it's a section where things are, and now things are, you need someone to manage it differently than if you were just starting. So these are different personalities. Blaze is more it's more about dealing with. Then tempo is just uh, tempo is about timing, right? Some people are great at timing. So, like Andrea said, it's the opposite from getting started. Timing is about going at the right time. Dinah's like, it's now or never, right? We gotta go. I have an idea, and we're either doing it now or we're not doing it at all,
And I'll make
right?
my
It's
own time. I don't have to
yeah,
worry about what everybody else is doing or what's going on in the world. I make my own time. See, this is part of the delusion and beauty of it
right,
all.
right. So, and then Steele, somebody who deals with fixed details, but tasks, getting it done. They're the great completers, right? And so when you match them up with the frequencies are opposites, you're going to have a lot more success. So that's the outside of the circle. As you keep, now we are getting into the different profiles, which we'll talk about in a bit, and we go in yet further. Now we start looking at different sides of this mountain or this pyramid, and you're actually looking down on top. I don't have a visual to show you right because it's a different, it's a total assessment.
Yeah, so we're
But this is
standing on the peak of the pyramid looking down at the world beneath us in this image.
a tower, more like light,
Yeah.
right? It's really tall, and we're looking down. The so anyways, as you go in, now you have these, right? You have your profiles, and you're getting here, and these are different ways. Like so, someone on the blaze side over here, they're going to magnify to help get their wealth dynamic going. People are going to use their timing. These people are going to multiply by creating systems that make things better. And the creators up top, the dynamo, they're going to be innovators, and they're using intuition a lot more. And the introvert, the interesting part, the introverts over here, extroverts over here, right? So a creator, a little both, and a trader is a little bit of both. Everything on the left side is going to be introvert, everything on the right side is going to be extrovert. What that means is that when you, and I'm going to show you down bottom here, what that means is when in your flow, how are you introverted, an extroverted personality? I have friends, I'm outgoing, I like to do things, but when I'm working, I'm more of an introverted side. I'm more of a mechanic, and I am a mechanic. And so I work in the introverted side. I want to be left alone so that I can figure stuff out, and then I can get into the chaos and I work over there. But I work best with my ideas and flow when I'm an introvert. I want to go down here to, now that I've explained that a little, right? It gives you an idea of what all that means. But we're just going to look at the frequencies right now. This is how Andrea tested, right? She her primary profile is a career, secondary or star mechanic. That's just going to be one each way. Right? So the interesting part is this is what she was saying. She has zero, almost nothing in tempo, but nothing in steel. Line just goes right around it.
Yeah, I
And
just like totally avoid it. Yeah.
yeah, I'll show you mine, right? As a mechanic, I'm a, like what
Look
they
how
call more of a,
balanced you are.
right, more of a balanced mechanic, but I am over here. Now, although I have this in skill, Andrea and I were talking about this, I still don't want to do my paperwork and stuff. I'm more about perfecting processes, making processes better. So, anyways, even though this is a little more balanced, my timing has still been off at times. I like going out networking, but it takes more of my energy, right? So if I spend more of my time over here, I'm going to, and in my flow, my energy stays up and I get accomplished. So let's go back to uh, Andrea here. So, I mean, she is just, I mean, all dynamo. Look at that. It's just crazy. And being a creator, if you know Andrea, she's very creative, thinks really fast, and then she shares those ideas really fast. That's a creator, right? You're doing those things, but our brain moves a lot faster. And sometimes when we're trying to get out all those ideas, everyone else in the spectrum, they don't get it, they don't understand. And the same goes for me. You know, a mechanic is still a dynamo. I'm still working up here most of the time, and my thoughts are go too fast and I have to slow it down, and we both have to work at it so that we can explain and communicate what's actually going on and communicate in general, because sometimes creators will just like create on the spot, right? maybe you're up on stage and you're doing something and you're like, you know what, this would be a good idea to do this. And now everybody else, now the Lord that you had someone over here on this side is trying to manage your events, and you just threw a big kink in it, and they work in definite, right? They're working the details, and you just threw a wrench in there, and they're like, what the hell just happened? So you're working in two different frequencies, sense, right? Yeah, Andrea.
Yeah,
Also got you.
absolutely. And
Okay,
then
cool.
that's something that really was important for me to see here too, is that we have to respect our team, right? We need a team.
Hmm.
We can't do life alone. And these
Yeah.
components have to be, these roles have to be filled. And so I can't throw wrenches, right, at my team that's backing me up all the time and expect to have a good relationship with them. I have to respect their value too.
Hmm.
And also too, I love the, especially as a small business entrepreneur, acupuncture practice, I'm been doing all the roles, right? So then I have to be careful and compartmentalize how much time I give to each of these roles, because they have to be
Exactly.
maintained. We have to deal with this. We have to respect that these are aspects of life that are present. They have to be dealt with. And
That's
so
right.
if I can't avoid doing my paperwork and have a business, so how many hours can I spend doing it at what time of day?
Right.
Because if I'm tired at the end of the day and I do a task that's draining, like all of my charting, I'm going to be more physically drained, and then
Yep.
that's going to catch up with me. How do I show up at peak performance if I'm constantly doing this task that's draining when I'm most drained? Then
I
I
mean,
could get physically sick, right? So I found this so insightful too, how we can look at it in a very practical manner as far as how we're managing our time and our tasks. And
and we're
and
going to get more
when we ask
practical.
for help, yeah, because that was a
I'll show
big
you that.
big red flag.
Yeah. So here's so as a creator, the to find out, just as a rule of thumb, to find the two people to set up your free, right? If you're a creator, if you go back to, right, that person is who you want for support, and how perfect is that,
Yeah,
right?
that's
And
pretty
then,
obvious for me.
right, then you go forward three. So one, two, three, deal maker. And a
Yeah.
deal maker is like, that's someone that you want to, they're obviously setting you up. So they're the ones getting the deals done because you're creating. Get someone who's taking care of your detail in the Lord. You get someone out front who's in it, and then you're sitting there and you get to create it and work out and then you your team around. But out the gate, you want to look for someone over here and someone over here. So that's one of the practical applications of doing this. The here's the quote that she was just talking
Yeah, I love that.
to. Yeah, beautiful. It's not Roger's quote said it. It was like Einstein or somebody said it. But so when you start down in here, this is it. There's a lot of detail. There's 36 pages in this, and the first time I did it, I was shocked at how well it outlined everything. I mean, this has been a lot of work. This is 100 years old, thousands of years old if you do use the I Ching. But these things really put it into perspective for how it works for you. So I'll go down here. When you start talking about this is just odd view still, the wealth formula, and the way that Roger defines wealth is value times average. And he also says, look, wealth is not how much money you have; it's what you have when you have no money left, right? So if it's what you have when you have no money left, if you have if you have the value and you have leverage, you can be dropped in the middle of somewhere, nothing, no money, and you're going to, again, take all the money, everybody right now, and distribute it evenly. Within just a few years, the same people who have it now would have it again because they know how to do it. So they know how to leverage what they have, and they know how to value what they have, and that is their wealth. But I
And
want to keep
even just
going.
recognizing what each of our values is from the perspective of this test is important too. What do we
Hmm.
bring to the table, and then how can
Yeah,
we
what is your value?
communicate that? And then I love how you pointed out in the previous point that you made, you need two types of people around you. Now, they don't have to be
Minimum.
coworkers, they don't have to be business partners, They can be a friend. That's what the beauty is of our accountability group. You
That's
need
right.
to have these perspectives of these kinds of people to fill in your gaps in order for you to really be awake, conscious, and making best informed decisions. That's the success formula, is do you
Yeah.
have the backup of somebody like Michael on your team here to
Right.
pick
And
up
it's
that
just,
huge 0% uh, Lord situation I have going on to
yeah,
streamline, get simple with the details that
that's
are
right.
draining for me.
All right. That are draining for me too. So when you look at your strengths here, this is I like that it's creator, it's your primary file in a nutshell, right? And this is the wealth creation key. When you look at your strengths, right, it just says it very simply: visionary, creative, optimistic, stimulating, able to inspire others. Your weakness, poor, it's the complete opposite. The tempo part, bottom. You're over optimistic. I can be the same way as a dynamo frequency. Like I look at all the positives. I've had to learn as I've gotten older and with more experience. So now I need to weight with some of the things that could happen. So this gives you, and it goes into this as best roles in the team, in life, and it gives some great examples and some when you get down in, you'll start talking more about the case studies. This goes on and on. We're kind of running out of time, so I just want to kind of get through this a little quick. These are great, right? They really break it down for you. Most be things that'll come up like a creator. You'll hear terms like head in the clouds. That's that part being over optimistic. Same with me. We get in. Remember, this is how do creators lead best? How do you communicate best? How do you get into your flow? I think this one's kind of cool, right? You're excellent at getting things started, but often completing. So to get into flow, creators need to stay focused on creating that flow. Surround yourselves with a team of the partners that can execute better. So the Lord and the deal maker, some making it, the details done, and someone else is selling it for you. The I thought this was pretty cool because Walt Disney was a perfect study for this, because it goes
Yes.
into when in 1930 he made it when he got Mickey Mouse. He split what he was going to get paid and ended up keeping rights. And that one creation of Mickey Mouse was what he based everything off of. And then first feature film that they did was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And both of those things, he kept creating and he stayed in his flow. He needed to surround himself with lords and all these other things to manage it, because he spent the money as it came in because he's so creative. He needed to have these people in places that he could where he wanted to be. Now today, Disney's worth 45 billion, but by the way, it took from 1930 to the 1950s before, or late 1940s, before it even was really profitable, because he kept spending the money. The other one's Richard Branson, right? It was Richard Branson, Virgin Airlines, Virgin, and also Virgin Records. But there's all these other people that are creator profiles, right? You run amongst great, some that we know. Others, not everybody knows Elizabeth Holmes. Most people, I think, nowadays know Jack Ma. But all these other people, very big in the creative side of things, but they surround themselves with others, or they wouldn't be able to accomplish this. Now, this is really my favorite. This is your wealth creation strategy. It breaks down for you. I have read my test at least 10 times at this point, and I go back at it and I make notes on it, because when you talk about building your wealth foundation, there's best we could take to do these, but it just gives you really cut things. So, as a creator, your biggest priority must be to build a team around yourself to execute the right ideas and plans. Right? It sounds simple, but it's telling you, and it's fun having conversations. A few conversations, with Roger. I've asked him about these things, and he is like, it is. There's no room for thinking outside the lines here. He's like, yeah, there's some people their profiles may show it. He's like, but the don't is how you create your wealth. If you're a creator, you're going to make it really hard on yourself if you don't create a team that can execute around you. Because now you just have ideas that go nowhere. No one's pitching them. No one's selling them. Or maybe you're doing it, but you're not going to create. You're not going to leverage the value that you have. Right back to the equals value to leverage.
Well, again, because those
So
other tasks can be draining, it's going to slow you down.
exhausting.
You're not really in your gift, right? So you're not really maximizing the potential of those other tasks.
Hmm.
So you just kind of again, there's many levels of success, right? So it's for us to really reach our potential and really share our gifts and really contribute to society. We're holding
Right.
ourselves back if we don't admit that we need a team.
Look at here, right? Your moment of wealth creation is when you maximize your invested time dreaming up and creating new products. And then this last sentence, key to this is choosing a market that you're passionate about, that you can see yourself remaining in, even when it's no longer above me.
Yeah, that's my whole MO. Yeah, because the
Right.
money's never enough. I have to love it. I have to love the
Absolutely.
mission,
And I'm the
which is
same
why
way.
I wanted to include you and I want to include this material at this time because this again is an opportunity for us to all ask ourselves, whatever it is, the job that we've had, were we really invested in it? Is it really
Right.
meaningful to us? Is our heart in it? Is it really fulfilling? If we realize how fragile life is, it's very
And it,
important how we spend our time, the time that we have.
yeah. And right now we do have an opportunity to choose, myself and right. All the years I spent in brick and mortar, all the years I was
Yeah.
in restaurants and stuff, I ended up shifting for a number of reasons, but practically speaking, I need flexibility and mobility in my life because I travel, and I'll also be back to Europe. So for me, I need that, and you can't do that brick and mortar, at least not simply and cost effectively. But what you can do online is massive, and I love to help. So I'm forcing me to look at what I do. It's going to force acupuncturists to look at what they do. It's going to force massage therapists to look at what they do. Because if you physically be around someone touching them, how else can you make money? How else can you make a living and self? And not difficult, and do it while you're still in your flow, something that you're passionate about and that is enjoyable, right? And there's all these people now that are out there, and we're all now, some people get work from home and others are out of work completely. And now you get to say, what do you really love? Yes, you need to take care of your bills and get a roof over your head, food, and clothing, but what is it you really enjoy and that you would love to work on? And can you do it with someone else and create it online now? And the answer is definitely yes.
Yeah,
If you're
and we
trying,
don't have to do it
no,
alone, and that's the whole
no, you
beauty
can't. You can't.
of teamwork and partnership.
Yeah, you can't do it. So we're coming to the end of this, but I just wanted to show, like, there are so many aspects to this assessment that gives you a lot of insight into yourself, and obviously it gets more into the here, right? The dynamo where we were up asking what, the blaze on the right is the who, tempo on the bottom is a when, the how on the left is the steel, and peak, right, where we're looking, it all goes up to the why. So a lot of different visuals here, but it just, as you get more into these things, by the way, I do have free assessments that you can take, and it give you a lot of insight. It'll show you which frequencies you're in and give you some really good background. But all of these things give you insight. It's going to allow you to go, and it shook you to the core. It shook me to the core. Like, that's really what it did. I was like, man, I thought everything was going cool. I thought I was going the right direction. I thought exactly what I was supposed to be doing. Honest with myself. Didn't let this take me off rails. Just let it sink in. I got to be honest with myself and say, you know what? I'm not doing exactly, if I'm honest with myself, I'm not doing exactly what feels good, keeps me in flow. There's a struggle, which will be the case as an entrepreneur. But my majority of my time is not being spent in that. What do I have to do to shift? And all of this gave me the insight to be able to do that.
Because now you're quite clear about who you are, what your nature is and what you're doing and also the people that you need to support you too. I mean,
Yeah,
that's all very priceless now because clarity is king as far as our choices moving forward.
and you get time to get. So this is what I was talking about. House. This is at the bottom of it, and you're
Yes.
looking down. So, and again, it gets into a few different things, but you got to start somewhere. I always suggest you start with the frequency test so that you can actually see where you fall out on that spectrum. A ton of it, and things are, you know, they're just going to help. And again, practical steps. Just like it said, this is what you have to create your wealth. This thing you have, this is how you leverage. So it's not just saying this is who you are, get better at it. This is it gives you practical steps on how to do things.
I
And
think it defines
love it.
all of our relationships too. It's not just our business and how to be successful in business, also our personal relationships too. We can see ourselves and who we are with, right?
Thank you.
More
Yes.
clearly too. That's
And that's the
really
talent.
important.
Yeah, and that's the talent dynamics. So I'll go up to the top so you see this again. That's the talent dynamics where it's the entire team, right? Where and that could be your family, could be your partner. People talk about this as in their personal relationships, and it's pretty funny because
Yeah.
they're like, well, you know, I know a mechanic, but my wife is a deal maker. And then people get into arguments over things, right? You're like, well, you guys are talking two different languages.
Yeah, you're in
It's
two
not just the
different
language of love anymore.
universes. And then too,
Yeah.
we all have to, right? So then how can we find that common ground space where we can
Hmm.
communicate each of our very different perspectives together and appreciate each other for what we bring to the table that is different and necessary, because you can't take out any one of these and be successful in life, in relationships. It's not going to be possible. You can't cancel out any one of these natural law life dynamics. Good luck with that.
No. And it,
You know,
that's a
we
really
need
good point.
these things. We need to see them.
Yeah. But the point too, like wood, fire, earth, winter, I'm sorry, earth, metal, right? These things that are naturally occurring. You're not going to get rid of them. You're not going to change them. It's just, you go back when you study it, you study this more than me, but you start looking at ancient Chinese texts, and you look at just human history and everything that we have that's made us who we are, and then how that's through the years, and eventually used as foundation to create archetypes with Carl Jung, and then how that's even flowed into this. It's all connected. It's not made up. It's not what if, it's this is what's been proven for thousands of years of who we are and how we think and how we act. And it's just now we're just using it in more of a scientific sense that we think of today. And it's to me though, it just sense I can relate to it. It resonates with me. I was always missing something when I took one of those other assessments. It's like, great, you're telling me where I lack and what I'm good at, but now, right?
I
Where do we go from
totally
here?
agree, because I love how it says okay, if this is where you land, then I need to go over and have a Lord have a presence in my life, and I need to
Yeah,
have a deal maker have a presence in my life. There are two of
that's
my
right.
biggest gaps. But if I don't even understand that concept or who those people are, I don't even know what I'm missing. The
Nope.
help or support I need. I'm totally right, just lost in my little bubble, and then I don't understand why everything isn't perfect.
Yeah, although it says, you know, the profiling system for entrepreneurs, as you said, it's individuals, it's small business owners, it's institutions, it's families. Like it's just, one of the things I'm pretty passionate about is teaching children, young adults, and adults, but especially the younger generation. You need to create what you're going to do in the future. If today isn't an example, is not an example, I don't know what is,
Yes,
right? Mercy of everybody else. You have a great opportunity to go there. And we're not teaching our kids on how to create a job for themselves, how to create a company for themselves. We're not teaching them that. So for me, this is really important. I think if children start doing and focusing on things like this, we're going to see a very different future and a happier one too, where people are in their flow, where they're enjoying what they're doing. They're spending more time with friends, family, getting outside and getting in the sun, doing things that'll make of a human being instead of the human doing.
yes,
And
yes, 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 yes.
that's how I see it. That's the other reason why I'm passionate about this. I think it's the first step, and everybody should be taking something, if not this, something like this just resonates. gives us that and practical steps afterwards.
Well, we need some kind of paradigm in order
Yeah,
to view ourselves in the world. And this is based on natural law. And it does apply to every aspect of our life, every relationship, and our work. And one of the things that's inherent in it, kind of underneath it, that maybe isn't so direct, again, one of the things that can be missing in our society today is teamwork and respect, respecting our differences
X.
and valuing our
Yes.
differences, and realizing we need to embrace our differences and work together as a team is
Absolutely.
really something that's so necessary and can reduce so much stress for all of us too. And we can stop
I
trying
agree.
to be the fish that's, desperately trying to be a tree.
Yeah, how
I'm
crazy
I'm
is
a
that?
I'm a fish. I need to be, you know,
What's
aware
your
of that, right? And stop comparing myself to the tree. And then,
yeah,
I need some trees,
those
right, in my life that are opposite than me, right? If
yep.
there's no shade and no oxygen, there's not going to be any water for me to swim in. That's going to be a rough fish life, huh? If they
Yeah,
take all
sure
the
is.
trees away, right?
But that's somewhat goes back to the yearly review. All right, you're a fish, you're doing a horrible job climbing the tree. Let me show you how to climb the tree better. It's like,
Yeah.
no. You're a fish. Let me put you back in the water
Yeah.
and let's give you the things that work well with swimming and
Yeah.
water. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I love that quote. I think it's very relevant. And if there's anything that's more relevant today, one of the things that I think is very relevant today, finding out who you are, what you're good at, what puts you in your flow, and what you want to be a part of. To choose it. Like, I mean, it's I've and again, I'm not perfect. I struggle with this day, right? I keep looking. No, there's got to be a better way for me to be involved in things. There's got to be a for me to be involved in something that even more touched to my heart. And everyone gets to do that. Everybody.
Yeah, I think this is a wonderful opportunity with this forced stop to do some personal development with this kind of test. So how can they connect with you, Michael? We're gonna have you on Sunday go into this deeper, but how can they find you, contact you, find you online with our internet as our access to the world when we're at home now?
Yeah. My company is Own the Potential, OWNTHE. So I have potential.com. It's the easiest way. But in the wherever we post, I can give you a link where people can take a free test.
Yeah,
And
yeah, let's do
yeah,
that. Let's do that because
yeah,
both of us are totally committed to sharing these kinds of tools that have impacted our lives so much personally. We want everybody to win.
that's right. And
We
that,
would have a much
that's,
better world, right? If we all help
yeah.
each other win.
And we talked about this earlier when sometimes struggle to explain how, like, what do you do? And I can go off. And, but I said knowledge broker. And as you said, a lot of people don't understand what that is, but I think a lot of us nowadays are knowledge brokers. Now, not peddle stuff that just to peddle stuff, right? I'm sharing things that for me that had an impact on me that you're for you when you talk about acupuncture and Chinese medicine, these had a massive impact on your life. You're the testament to what happens, right? Everything
Yeah,
else
exactly.
pushing
We are what we have lived, the knowledge that we have thought, the wisdom
Mhm.
with which we choose to direct our lives. And the more that we can share that, the better off all of us can be to use this. This is, I like to call it ancient tech. This is, surviving for thousands upon thousands of years because it is valuable and it
Yeah, the ancient
can
text in
change
us,
our
right?
lives. Yeah,
It's totally us. So
yeah.
I'm just pulling up my link, and I'll forward you the link, and if you want to add it in somewhere, there's nowhere to add it on the screen here, but you can
Yeah,
do it afterwards.
yeah, we can share it afterwards, but I want to thank you for your time always and your
No, my
example
pleasure.
too.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I think for all of us, we just need to make sure that we have these conversations in our lives on a regular basis with heart-centered people that we trust for our support, and we'll all be better off. So these are some of our favorite concepts, ideas, and tools for you guys to chew on, and hopefully have
Absolutely.
the same kinds of very meaningful, insightful revelations from
Mhm.
engaging with this material and these tools.
I hope so. Well, thank you for having me as well, and your friendship and mentorship has been, uh, priceless. Right? I mean, we
Oh,
can't put a price on these things.
no,
They're better.
no, no, because that's the whole thing. We're better, we're stronger together, and it's
Yes,
a
we are.
completely reciprocal exchange, and I'm so grateful. So we'll play
Yes,
again soon.
yes, we will. A few more
See you
days, and
guys
we're on
on
it.
Sunday.
Ciao,
All
everybody.
right. Bye-bye, everybody.